Right now, movie review talk. Tom Cruise returns for his biggest, maybe his best mission yet, and Teen Titans go to the movies. Hey, movie fans, welcome to Movie Review Talk for Collider. I'm your host, Scott Movie Mantz. Very excited every week. We review the new films. We pick a Blu-ray for something you might have missed in theaters, and we pick something to stream because there is a lot to stream. Here's the beauty of it. No spoilers on this show, so you can watch to your heart's content. Every week I am joined by two esteemed guest critics and pundits in the film world. Joining me this week, she is the film reporter and critic for the Associated Press, Lindsey Bahr. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I'm
so
excited
excited for you to be here. And I did come down to San Diego at Comic-Con just to confirm you for today's show.
It was impressive.
It worked, didn't it?
It worked. You popped out of nowhere.
Popped out of nowhere.
Yeah,
You're like, oh my God, he's stalking me. And he is the legend, the myth, the man. He is the creator of Film Threat. He is a true champion of film, especially independent film, and he is my good friend. He is Chris Gore from Film Threat. Yes!
Scott, I will never live up to that introduction.
It's the truth, man.
Wow, thank you.
You and I grew up together. We went great together.
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, me sooner than you, but yes. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much both for being here. Let's get right to it. The first movie is Teen Titans Go to the Movies. The film is directed by Aaron Horvath and Rida Michail. The voiceover cast includes Tara Strong and Scott Menville. In the film, the Teen Titans want their own movie, especially Robin, who is tired of being the sidekick. So forget the villains. What happens when the Teen Titans take on the suits in Hollywood? Chris, let's start with you. What did you think of Teen Titans Go to the Movies?
First of all, I was very angry with you because at first I thought that this was the Teen Titans live action. That, you know, sometimes they take like these television things, they do these Fathom events in the theater. I thought, oh my God, I'm going to see the Teen Titans live action show in the theater like they did with the Walking Dead finale. And this was the animated series, which I have to admit, I have never seen an episode of.
I didn't either.
I have only seen it in a room with children watching it, delighting in the show and going, this looks so annoying. So I went in with the lowest of expectations, having never seen an episode of the Teen Titans Go show. And I love this thing.
I did too.
It was so smart, right? I mean, it works on definitely two levels for adults and for kids. Incredibly clever. The animation style I just grew to love. And this is not just a send-up of the DC universe, it's a send-up of superhero movies, like as a genre in general, that there may be a little bit of people getting tired of superhero movies. So it but I mean, I'm not in that camp, but more superhero movies to me, but more comic book films. But they really just, I mean, and I couldn't believe it was sustained for 90 minutes. I thought, well, this is going to get boring after about 20 minutes. No, it just one-ups each other. It calls itself out. It's such smart humor, and that, I mean, I loved it, and I wasn't a fan, okay? I was not a fan of this. So,
all right, Linz.
Yeah, I had never even heard of Teen Titans before I saw this movie, and I saw it right down in Comic-Con, so it was like in the apex of, you know, where these fans exist. Everyone next to me is singing along with the theme song and laughing. Okay. I thought it was incredibly smart, clever. Yes, I loved all of that. It's like Deadpool light. It has sort of a Lego movie energy to it and like meta quality. And yet I found it very abrasive. I'm not sure.
So?
It just felt like an assault on the senses, and like I'll watch it again. I will, but there were a couple jokes that were so off color, and obviously it's like it's made for a very young audience. So I wish I had like a child sitting next to me that I could be like watch them and sort of channel it through them. But you know, there's some like they beat up a character. They actually like assault a character at some point, and I don't know. I found that very distasteful in a weird way. I don't know.
You know, I have to say first, I'm like both of you, especially you with this, in the sense I never watched the show. And I just went, okay, it's a kid's movie, it's animated, it's going to be in theaters the same weekend as Mission Impossible. Okay, I went into this movie with no expectations whatsoever. And I felt the same way with regards to the Lego Batman movie. I felt like this was a lot smarter than I expected it to be. It was fun. It was charming. It was irresistible to an extent. It had a vibrancy and a goodwill that was infectious. I also loved the way it was, like you said, a send-up. It made fun of superhero movies. It made fun of Batman and Superman. And there is, no spoiler, but there is a cameo in this film for someone you would never expect to see a cameo from in a DC movie. And what is it about these DC animated films, including Lego Batman, that they're better than the live action DC movies?
Yeah,
it's disheartening, but that's absolutely true. I mean, the DC animated is just spot on. But you're right. This is not just. I mean, it makes fun of the DC universe. It also makes light of just not Marvel per se, but just maybe that there are too many superhero movies and universes and whatnot. And I don't know, just as a fan of DC Comics growing up, I thought it was great. I understand what you're saying about the assault on the senses. It was sort of like a pizza with maybe too many toppings. But if that's the biggest complaint, I think that's saying a lot. And the thing is this, like all of these superhero films, you got to stay to the ending, because there's a great little tag on the end, and there's a thing that I think might drive parents crazy right before the ending. I think you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
That it won't be spoiled, but it's just so well worth it. And I do think you said you wish there was a kid sitting next to you. If I was sitting next to you, there would be a kid sitting next to you, because it brought me to that kid level of humor, where certain types of things that maybe were funny in junior high, like that's what this is. I mean, it's junior high, like elementary school humor. It kind of brought me back to that place. And sort of when I first loved reading comics as a kid, when that was my dreamt of just riding my bike to the comic book store and just reading my comic books, so I really loved it. And I think that, those quibbles like make sense, but well worth it in the end overall.
There's an extended fart joke in it. There literally is.
Yeah, there is.
Just to give you a sense of the tone of the movie too. Wait, can we talk about who voices Batman
please
in
do,
it?
yes.
Or Superman? I mean, so it's Nick
Right.
Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
It's amazing.
I mean, actually, that was inspired because he did that test with Tim Burton. He was going to make that movie. That
named his kid.
Yes,
right.
And our good friend here at Collider, John Schnepp, he made a documentary about how that movie was never made.
Yeah, the death of Superman Lives. What happened?
What happened? That's a great movie. It's a great movie to watch. But the thing about Teen Titans Go to movies and like Lego Batman, I feel like these animated DC movies, they are taking chances and just going for it in ways that the live action movies don't. I mean, I liked Wonder Woman a lot, but the other DC movies I have not been crazy about. Justice League was okay. Aquaman looks very good, even though it looks like Thor underwater.
Aqua Bro.
Aqua Bro. But the animated DC movies, it's like, it's just an animated movie, let's just go for it. And by going for it and taking chances and throwing a lot more against the wall, these movies are better. So what is your letter grade for Teen Titans Go to the movies?
Oh, interesting. You know what? I'm going to say a B to B minus for this one. Yeah.
All right, Chris?
B++.
B++. All right, I'm giving it an A minus.
Oh, good.
I loved it. I was very
I loved it
charmed
as
by
well.
it. But come on. Okay, let's get to the real movie we want to talk about here. This is very, very exciting. Tom Cruise is back as Agent Ethan Hunt in Mission Impossible Fallout. This is the 6th movie in this franchise over 22 years. The movie is written and directed by Christopher McQuarrie, who wrote and directed the previous film, Rogue Nation. Cast, of course, is Tom Cruise, Simon Pegg, Rebecca Ferguson, Henry Cavill, Ving Rhames, and this time the Impossible Missions Force sort of takes on a lot from its past, making it its most dangerous and maybe its best mission yet. We're going to rank him in a bit. But what did you think, Lindsey, of Mission Impossible Fallout?
an assault on the senses in a better way. Like I was just riveted throughout the. I mean, it's a long movie too. It's 2 hours and 27 minutes, and just the stunts, the action in this movie. I kind of can't comprehend it. I feel like I have to see it 3 more times in order to fully process what we saw. I mean, even the fact that there's, there are amazing stunts. He does that halo jump from 25,000 feet. There's a helicopter fight, literally, which is insane. But even a fight in the bathroom between 3 men is just one of the best action set pieces I think I've seen this year.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's this movie is Tom Man v Superman. This is what it ends up. I mean, it is so like you mentioned, the bathroom fight scene is so intense. It's just and the way that plays out is so good. I mean, it's surprising. It's the action, just that helicopter scene, you've never seen anything like it. And there's parts of it where you're thinking, oh my God, they are getting hurt. Like, obviously some of the stuff had to be done digital, but other stuff, no, that they are live, they're practical effects. They're in a helicopter. They're being bounced around everywhere. It's just...
They're skydiving.
Just so intense. I mean... you look at you feel like, please, Tom, you're going to get yourself killed making these movies.
Well, he broke his ankle.
He did get hurt.
Right. I mean,
and they included that scene in the movie, by the way. You can see it.
I can't imagine. I mean, this is like playing professional football in the form of like of making a film. It really does one up, and this is sort of the thing I think the Mission Impossible films have become known for. It just one ups itself every time
It
to
really
the point
does.
where it was fantastic. And you're right, it was long, but didn't feel long. It was just great.
Let me ask you, Lindsey, do you
Yeah.
think that having Tom Cruise, you're seeing him do his own stunts, you're seeing him on the side of the cargo plane in Rogue Nation, you're seeing him climb outside the tallest building in the world in Ghost Protocol.
Right, yeah.
Doesn't that level of commitment, knowing that that's him, doesn't that draw you in more to the character and you're just going like, well, that guy is out of his friggin' mind.
Yeah. Oh, certainly. And I think what really distinguishes him and these stunts, because so many movies do these epic stunts. I mean, Fast and Furious, they drive the car through buildings and everything like that. But Tom Cruise is just one of the best reactors in all of cinema. And like, you really believe that he's a little vulnerable in these situations, that he's making it up as he goes along. And I think that that's why these work so well. They're stunning to watch, but he is so committed to being the character and being in this moment. He's not dead-eyed. He's not being too cool. I don't know. I think there's something about him that makes it work as well.
I think Tom Cruise, he's a true movie star, but he's also a great actor. The level of his commitment, not just physically, but emotionally as well. And I think, the fact that he's now played Ethan Hunt 6 times in 6 fundamentally different movies, some better than others, but they're all good in their own way. And even after all the superhero movies, which are very heavy on the CGI, the practical effects make Mission Impossible Fallout the best action movie of the year. And it's the only Mission sequel to be sort of built on its predecessor. And it's also the only Mission sequel to repeat a director, in this case, Christopher McQuarrie. And I think that, what you said about seeing the movie a couple of times, I think that's actually a really strong point, because I had to see Rogue Nation a second time to sort of wrap my head around the story, because the plotting was pretty intricate, more intricate and smarter than you would expect for an action movie on this level. Fallout, it's 22 years after the first mission, 6 movies in. These movies are still holding up. In some ways, they are getting better and better. I think that is a great thing. What is your letter grade for Fallout?
Oh God, A-, I would say, but a light on the A- because it just. And this one, I think, has one of the simpler plots of all of the Mission.
It does.
It's this one, just very simple. Get to the. I mean, you don't even need the dialogue, right? It could be in another language. You get what's going on. But yeah, A-.
How about you, Linz?
I'm going to go straight A.
Straight A. Yeah. I'm going to give it an A- just because there is an element of the film, a couple elements that I felt were predictable. Don't want to say what it was. And then there were other things that, while I get and appreciate the way they brought back elements of the previous films to make it sort of the Skyfall of the Mission Impossible series. But some of those things I felt were a little contrived. It didn't really feel natural and genuine. But very, very minor nitpicks. I thought the film was fantastic. A-. Now, where does Fallout fall in with the rest of the Mission Impossible series? We're going to find out right now because we're going to rank the Mission Impossible movies from worst to best really quickly. We're not going to get too heavy into it. But number 6, the worst, which is still not bad, I'm going to go with MI2, Mission Impossible 2. You agree? Disagree?
Yeah, I agree. I think, yeah.
Okay.
I would say that's hard to argue.
And by the way, I reviewed Mission Impossible 2 on your show on FX back in May of 2000, the new movie show. So this is full circle. I'm very happy to be talking Tom Cruise on this show. So Mission Impossible 2, or MI2 it is called, came out on May 24, 2000, directed by John Woo, domestic gross $215 million, worldwide gross for 2000, $547 million. Rotten Tomatoes score 57%.
Wow.
So it's rotten.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing about Mission Impossible 2. It's corny, it's cheesy, it's silly, it's over the top. But in a sort of refreshingly fun way, all of the staples of the John Woo movies with the double barrel, the firing, and the doves, very stylized. It was a little too much.
Yeah.
I felt like if you look at MI2 as a spoof of John Woo movies, it's actually pretty good.
Wow, I never thought of that.
So we agree that MI2 is the worst.
I mean, every movie has its supporters, but I feel like everyone just resoundingly agrees that is.
Yeah, it's the least of the 6. Not that it's terrible or bad.
No.
It's just not as good as the others.
Yeah.
Okay, number 5, I think of this if we're going to start getting it. I'm going with the original Mission from 1996.
Scott, you're breaking my heart.
Why? My God, that movie's so boring. It's so boring. All right, why do you think that Mission Impossible, the original, is better than number 5?
It's so stylish. It's Hitchcockian. I like that it's slow. It sort of has this elegant tension to it. It gave me the taste for spy movies and sort of espionage movies back when I saw it, and I think I was in 6th grade or something.
Oh my God!
I just thought it was I just thought it was so glamorous and so wonderful, and just iconic moments, iconic lines. I can rewatch that movie any day of the week.
What is it? 5? Is it higher?
No, I think that, Scott, you and I agree a lot, because you and I are also big Tom Cruise fans. Huge. We had a whole discussion about Tom Cruise, and I feel like the reason he's never really acknowledged for acting awards is he's too good looking.
Yeah.
He's too good. I mean, you deal with that all the time. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, no, I like that it's different stylistically, but I think that Mission Impossible is one of those series that has gotten better with each film. It really has built upon itself. Up through, of course, Fallout. This most recent one is just up. So I agree with you, but I acknowledge what you're like. It would be nice to have a little bit more of that intrigue, just a little bit more of the sort of quiet spy moments. Mm-hmm. But I don't mind a motorcycle chase through Europe. I mean that was awesome. So
the thing is, so Mission Impossible, the original Mission Impossible, came out May 22nd, 1996, directed by Brian De Palma. Yeah. It was Tom Cruise's first movie where he was credited with Paula Wagner as a producer. Mm-hmm. The movie made $181 million domestic, $458 million worldwide. Rotten Tomatoes score 63%. If you take out the scene where he's dangling, he breaks in, he's hanging from the wire. If you take out the final scene with the helicopter chase on the train, if you take out those two action set pieces, the movie's kind of boring. It's convoluted. It's confusing. It doesn't have enough fun with itself like the later movies did. I'm going to leave it at number 5.
No, it has. Oh my gosh, that first scene, the fact that you care about his team from the opening moment. Right? I mean, they have this banter. You're shocked when what goes down goes down. Are we allowed to spoil a 22-year-old movie? I don't know. Fine.
Okay.
Agree to disagree.
Well, would you swap places with the movie I had at number 4, which is MI3? Mm-hmm. Which movie is 5 and which movie is 4 on this list? Which movie is better, the original Mission or Mission Impossible 3? I'm happy to switch the rankings.
Oh, God, that's a good, that could be a good switch.
All right, let's switch it then. All right, so number 4 is going to be the original Mission Impossible, and number 5 now is MI3, which was directed by J.J. Abrams, came out May 5th, 2006, domestic gross $134 million, worldwide gross $398 million. Rotten Tomatoes rating is 70%, so they are getting better, but I'm happy to put MI3 at number 5 and the original Mission at number 4. Now, the thing I liked about MI3 was, it really sort of humanized Ethan Hunt, tried to give him a domestic life, didn't really work out. And the love interest, Michelle Monaghan, great villain, Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah.
I think he's the best villain in the series. He was terrific. But the movie overall, it still felt like an episode of Alias. And that's J.J. Abrams.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
You know what? It was...
But with a budget.
With a budget.
Right.
But it just, the action scenes were good, really good, but compared to the other missions, not as good. It was a really good movie, and I liked Ethan Hunt in the film more than the previous films because it humanized him, and I liked the romantic interest with Michelle Monaghan. But I'm approving the switch.
Yeah.
So
thank you. I appreciate it. Now I
here.
just have to keep bumping it up until it gets to be the number 1 movie on the list.
well, I don't know about that, Linz, because at number 3 on this list we have Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol.
Oh, wow.
Okay, Ghost Protocol, directed by Brad Bird, came out December 16th, 2011. Domestic gross $209 million, worldwide gross $695 million worldwide, which makes it to this date before Fallout opens the highest grossing worldwide movie in the Mission Impossible series. Rotten Tomatoes ranking 93%.
Oh,
wow. Okay, fair to rank this at number 3 on the list.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say it's fair, but it's interesting. As we're ranking these, I'm thinking about what stood out to me about each of these films. And I almost think it's not fair to rank the films. It's almost these films are built around action set pieces. And I feel like what are the best action set pieces in it? That I think is a big consideration towards your rankings. So I'd love to see just all the action set pieces, divorce them from the films, the number of or the movie title itself, and just what was the best action set piece?
That's a whole other list.
That's a whole other
list. That's a whole list for another episode of the show. But
yes,
but I agree with you. I mean, I feel like they got better at knowing what audiences responded to with each film. So for me, the ranking would be just the most recent one is the best one, and they just sort of go down in ranking as they go. I don't know, but that one has so many great action sequences.
Well, because it has the action.
The Burj Khalifa. I mean, it's truly.
Yes.
I mean, my hands get sweaty just thinking about that scene. I mean, I don't think that's ever happened to me in a movie.
Did you see it in IMAX? Too?
Yes.
Because IMAX was look, everyone, 3D, no, IMAX.
IMAX is the way to go.
Seeing movies in IMAX, and wow, that scene is just, you're right, it's just heart-wrenching. You're looking around going, he could die.
I held on to my seat when he climbed out on the side of that building. That's a good point about ranking the action scenes. But what I liked about Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol was it reimagined, it rebooted, it reinvigorated the Mission series. Because, as much as I did like the third movie, it felt like, okay, maybe the third one, they should leave it there. It's done. It's been done. Where do you go with this character? Well, what I liked about Ghost Protocol was it felt like a true ensemble. It wasn't just the Tom Cruise show. The IMF force, actually everyone had something to play. The addition of Jeremy Renner. I thought Simon Pegg was great comic relief. There was a lot of humor with this film in the way that all of the technology, it didn't always work.
Right.
And they sort of deconstructed the Mission Impossible idea in some ways with this movie. And to this day, I feel like Ghost Protocol is probably the most polished of the movies. Very, very, very good. Up to that point, I thought it was the best one they had made up until 2011. And then now we get to rankings 2 and 1. And I think we might have to debate this one a little bit.
Okay.
All right, now where would you rank Fallout?
Wow. Like,
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly deserves either the 1 or the 2 spot.
Yeah.
But because I've seen it most recently, I would say 1.
Right.
Okay, how about you, Lindsay?
Yeah, I'm kind of with that, but then I feel like they have to work in tandem. Like 6 doesn't work without 5, so
Right.
it's kind of hard
Exactly.
to. Yeah,
That is why, okay, I'm making an executive decision here.
it's your show.
I am putting Fallout at number 2, and here's why. Yeah, I just saw it, so it's the one that I'm most excited about. I saw it in IMAX, which, holy moly, that is absolutely the way to see a movie like this. I saw the others in IMAX, too. I saw Ghost Protocol and Rogue Nation in IMAX. But I did go back and rewatch the last 3 films, because I really like those movies a lot. And Rogue Nation, it's grittier than Ghost Protocol, but again, because Christopher McQuarrie, the Oscar-winning screenwriter of The Usual Suspects, wrote this film, the plotting is intricate. It is a smart film. The addition of Rebecca Ferguson as Tom Cruise's equal was a great touch. Simon Pegg was the heart of this movie. It's a great standalone film. It has it all. Rogue Nation, I think it just, as good as it gets, it was a movie that made me think that Mission Impossible was better than James Bond, better than Jason Bourne. And I think that Fallout is number 2 on the list because Fallout doesn't exist without Rogue Nation.
Yeah.
And like you said, Chris, the story for Fallout, it's pretty simple. But the story for Rogue Nation was pretty damn smart.
Right, yeah.
And that is why I'm going to give Fallout number 2. And the number 1 best Mission Impossible movie of them all is Rogue Nation, directed by Christopher McQuarrie. He wrote it too. Released July 31st, 2015. Domestic gross, $195 million. Worldwide gross, $682, just a little bit short of Ghost Protocol. And I have a feeling Fallout's going to be the new number 1.
Right.
Rotten Tomatoes rating was 93%. So there you have it. Number 6 is Mission Impossible 2. Number 5 is MI3. Number 4 is the original Mission Impossible. Number 3 is Ghost Protocol. Number 2 is Fallout. Number 1 is Rogue Nation, the only Mission Impossible ranking you need to hear. Now we move on to what's on Blu-ray. This movie came out in March, and it's finally on Blu-ray. It's also on digital, and it's on high def, whatever your streaming platforms are. Ready Player One, directed by Steven Spielberg. The cast is Ty Sheridan, Olivia Cooke, Ben Mendelsohn, among others. You know, when I saw this movie in theaters, I liked it a lot because it was sort of a return to sort of like the magic of a Spielberg movie like that we grew up with, like Raiders, like E.T., like Close Encounters, like Jaws, Jurassic Park. And of course, it's based on a bestseller by Ernest Cline, and the special effects were great. But I rewatched this film again. What'd you think of Ready Player One?
I saw it at the world premiere at South by Southwest. Spielberg and the cast was there. And I was underwhelmed.
Okay.
Only because I had read the book, and I know that seems like a cop-out. No, the book is better than the movie.
Yeah.
In this case, it really is, because there's something that the movie didn't do that the book did so well, and the movie needed to do first, which was it needed to do some world building. It needed to explain the economic disparity that was in the world, and how the education system was different, and how what the struggle really was for people in the real world, and how the Oasis was an escape, and how impactful that was. And it just didn't do that. It just started and it exists. And we're on this, we gotta solve these puzzles so we can get to the prize at the end, very, very Willy Wonka. And also the Spielbergisms to me felt dated.
Okay.
It really felt dated to me. Especially when it came to some of the ethnic stereotypes just rubbed me the wrong way. It's like, this is not working for me. Maybe this worked in a movie from the 80s. It just did not work for me. I was really disappointed with Ready Player One, and was ready to love it because the book was so beloved. I mean, read the book. I've never done this. Read the book. Don't see this film.
Interesting.
But you
Okay.
probably have seen it.
Wow.
So yeah. So I don't know what others. This was just this is my personal opinion about this one. I know, but I feel like the sort of pop culture eating itself is just a little. It just became a little too much. It was a Where's Waldo of pop culture references, which is after a while just stop hammering me with this stuff. It's,
all right,
it's crazy.
I was nervous about that going in, but I think that it really works in the story because it's not just references for references' sake. It's references because it's a means to an end. It's a means to get it's a way for Percival to, and Wade to get out of the circumstances that he's in. So that's why they're so obsessed. They're not just like 80s movies are the best. And honestly, I saw this movie a couple times in theaters. I really loved it. And then I bought it recently, actually, on digital and watched it with my family. And I think it's classic Spielberg, but it's also Spielberg sort of reckoning in a dark way with this nostalgia culture that he created. And it has an amazing Alan Silvestri score. I feel like movie scores lately just never resonate with me, and this just has such a wonderful score. I don't know. I really love this movie.
Yeah, rare time that Spielberg didn't have John Williams do a score, but because of the the Back to the Future angle, it was perfect to have Alan Silvestri do the score. I still like Ready Player One. I'm sort of in between the two of you on this because when I saw it in theaters, Lindsay, I felt like you did. And look, Spielberg is my number one favorite director of all time. He's a director that shaped my love for film more than any other director. No question about it. More than Hitchcock, more than Kubrick, who I love. But Spielberg was like, for me, what the Beatles were for my parents, although I do love the Beatles.
Do you have a top?
Yes.
Do you have a top Spielberg?
A top Spielberg?
Yeah.
Oh, my favorite Spielberg is Close Encounters.
Oh.
Yes. Yeah.
That movie so holds up.
That's the one.
That movie holds up.
But
so
but rewatching Ready Player One, I agree, Chris. The pop culture references in this film, I ultimately they didn't serve a purpose. They didn't move the story forward. They didn't advance the narrative. It was just like oh, there's the Viper from Battlestar Galactica. Oh, there's the scene. It's The Shining. But they were not revealed in a way that was clever, and they did not further the story. They stopped the story in its tracks. But overall, I still felt the effects were good. I still felt like it was very entertaining. It's just, and again, we were talking about this off camera. I read the book, and I saw the movie twice, and I was still confused.
Okay.
It's a very, it's a convoluted movie. The book plays out better than the movie does.
Right.
So I agree with that.
And I
The
will say-
Shining sequence doesn't prop it up for you,
No,
really?
I
I got chills.
but here's where I would completely disagree with Lindsay and be upset about her opinion. Want to argue, but because I'm going to you haven't read the book.
No.
See, this is why I believe that your opinion about the film is completely valid because you weren't tainted by having read the book. So if you just see the movie not knowing what the book is,
good point.
It's a completely enjoyable experience. I was ruined by reading this book and having an expectation that went unfulfilled, which was we're going to get this world building about what how life is not far into the future, this dystopian place living in the stacks, and how awful that experience was. And Spielberg made that experience delightful, and it certainly wasn't portrayed that way in the book. So I think he missed out on many of the important aspects of the book. It was a missed opportunity. I felt like it would have been a better 3-hour movie where the first hour is just setting up the world so it raised the stakes. Having said that, because you haven't read the book, I feel like you have a completely valid opinion. I'm not going to argue with you.
I did have a lot of questions, though. I feel like there wasn't a lot of inquiry, into how the world got that way. There's like a couple lines of exposition and the bandwidth riots and blah blah blah, and and it doesn't really go into what this actually the implications for society that everyone's operating in this VR world. So I do agree with you there.
Well, as a recent owner of the Oculus Go, I will say that the Oasis is coming. If you've got the Oculus Go and you've tried it out, it's I really feel like we're very close going to have the Oasis be a real thing.
Well, you know what? Very mixed reactions here for Ready Player One. Check it out. It's on Blu-ray. It's on 4K. That's the sort of movie you want a 4K for, believe me, because the effects are incredible. Moving on to a movie that is streaming, because between Netflix, between Amazon, and between Hulu, there is a lot out there. There's a lot of good stuff that's getting dumped, and there are really good movies hiding in plain sight right there at your fingertips. This week's pick is on Hulu. It is called Please Stand By. It's directed by Ben Lewin, stars Dakota Fanning, Toni Collette, and Alice Eve. And Dakota Fanning plays Wendy, an autistic girl who runs away from her caregiver to submit her screenplay to a writing contest for Star Trek. All right. Now, everyone who knows me knows that I'm a massive Star Trek fan.
Yes.
Okay, that's not the only reason I like this film, but it did help. But overall, Dakota Fanning, she's on TV now in The Alienist. But it's been a while that we'd seen her really command the big screen in a really good role. And I felt like this movie reminded me of wow, she is a really, really great actress. She was cool. She went off, she grew up, she went to school, she lived her life, and she's, back to acting, and she's really, really great at it. I thought the movie, had a big, big heart. It was moving, it was profound in some ways. It felt like a feel-good crowd pleaser in a lot of ways. It was a sweet movie, charming, perfect kind of movie to stream. What'd you think?
Yeah, I agree. I'm not sure I would have watched this or found it had you not wanted to watch it for this. So I found it really lovely. She gives a really, really wonderful performance as this girl, which is it's a complicated part to play because you don't want to go too extreme in either direction. And she's incredibly nuanced. And yeah, as you said, it has a big heart. It sort of reminded me of like a lighter Kumiko the Treasure Hunter, just sort of this girl going on this journey and I don't know, having these dreams and aspirations. Yeah, I quite enjoyed it.
Chris.
Yes, thank you, Scott, for recommending that we all watch this. Yeah, just so delightful. She was fantastic, and I loved all the Star Trek references.
Yeah, I did too.
The Star Trek stuff was so spot on. If you're a hardcore Star Trek, or especially original series fan,
oh yes,
this really hits all the marks. And I think perfectly encapsulates what it's like to be a Star Trek fan. I don't know that Paramount would ever run a contest like this, but I love that they went into detail about her story and that they even showed sequences from the original series, would be on TVs in the background, and then they show in her imagination her story that she's trying to write. With Kirk and Spock in this epic, it's about their friendship, Kirk and Spock, and it's. I was really moved by it. I mean, I don't know why this was not on my radar.
Well, so now it is. My pleasure.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
Everyone talks about the Black Mirror episode, sort of this is the polar opposite. This is positive and optimism. And,
it really
target.
is. It's very optimistic, which I think that Star Trek hasn't had for quite some time. But I digress. Oh, no. That's another conversation. But yes, the movie is called Please Stand By. It's on Hulu. It is if you're just hanging out, this is the perfect kind of movie to watch at home on Hulu. So please do check out Please Stand By. And for all of the films that we talked about, including our ranking of the Mission Impossible movies, please hit us up and hashtag Movie Review Talk. Hit me up on Twitter at Movie Mantz. Where can people follow you on Twitter, Lindsey?
At LD Bahr. Yeah.
And it's B-A-H-R.
B-A-H-R, yes.
Okay. And how about you, Chris?
I'm that Chris Gore, but also just go to Film Threat. Just look up filmthreat.com.
Okay. And make sure you follow me at Movie Mantz. And please be sure to share Movie Review Talk. There's no other show like it. Remember the Siskel and Ebert days without the movies? That's what I'm trying to do here, but I need your help. Please share Movie Review Talk, and please go to Podcast One and subscribe to our podcast and share our podcast. You can watch it, you can listen to it, but we do need people to share it so we can get more people to watch and listen to Movie Review Talk. And next week on Movie Review Talk, we go from Mission Impossible Fallout to The Spy Who Dumped Me. Also, yeesh, my God, we're getting into August, aren't we? We also have Christopher Robin. So until next time, here's looking at you, kid.
Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode. You want to watch more? Then click up here. Or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. If you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.